Hello, it's Mark Atwood here, the Mark Atwood Show. Adventures in a cosmic suit. See? Thousands of videos, and I can still come up with new ways of saying it. Look at this. Hot new releases on Amazon. God Wins by me. If you've not read this book, there it is. Now, this is not about making money, right? You earn bugger all on Amazon. It will never sell that many. It's a poetry book. But look at here. It's on... well, it's just gone down in place. It's number 4 in the bestsellers for poetry, British and Irish poetry. If you want to help me get it higher, there's a reason for that. If you are awake, then, if you've not read this book, I highly recommend it. Of course I do. I wrote it. It's not just poems, it's pictures. It sums up the COVID years. That's what I've called it, spiritual war poetry. You see, the thing is with this, it's a phenomenal conversation starter. We put it in reception at Live 5D Health. I know people who put it in dentist receptions and stuff like that. And Dr. Christiane Northrup has put the quote on the front page. She says she loves it as a conversation starter, and she leaves it out on her table, a dining table or a coffee table in her house. And it's that's what it's for, And the thing is, some poetry fans might go, "Oh, what's this?" and then get it and then be like, "Oh my God." So if you want to help me, just go to Amazon, type in my name, you'll find it. And good reviews help as well. I mean, I'm just saying that as part of the, what I'm like, the information war is fought on many fronts. Videos are one thing, but often with videos, we're preaching to the converted. And trolls and demons, they like to interact with you. But books are enormously important, which is why I set up 104publishing.com. If you want to go and have a look there, you'll see the other books we've published with Abby Wynn. And, she's an amazing person to work with on books. And there's also a course, if you want to be an author yourself, we did a course. I think it's called the Self-Publishing Masterclass for people that don't want to be Amazon slaves. Why have you put your book on Amazon, Mark? Well, because we have to use the enemy's weapons against them. That's why I'm still on YouTube. And I keep coming back, even though they cancelled me twice with 2 big channels. You just keep coming back. This is the thing. This spiritual war is not just about learning the spiritual lessons. It's about perseverance as much as anything else. In fact, I was having a chat with an amazing man that has been on my channel before called Dara O'Flaherty, the ferocious O'Flaherty's from Connaught. That's his family lineage. He's an amazing guy, and his perseverance has been extraordinary to witness. And he came to Boyle yesterday, and we went into Live 5D Health, and he was telling his friend who we'd brought along, who wasn't very well, about how coming into Live 5D Health 3 years ago changed his life. He sat in the Orinoco chair, which if you've not seen my shows about the Orinoco, you should go and have a look at them. And we've got the Orinoco chair there, which is basically, it's based on the work of M.T. Kesh, the Iranian nuclear physicist, who open sourced this technology, which basically has 3 sticks, poles that you sit in between, and then it's got the photonic light of the sun captured in salt water with copper. And between the 3 of them, they create a life force energy field that interacts with yours based on your intention and where you're at in terms of your consciousness. Some people go in, heal broken wrists in half an hour. Some people see dead relatives. Some people get nothing. But Dara was there in Live 5D yesterday, bouncing up and down, showing everybody how his bones don't click and how that's led him to stopping lots of other things. And it's just wonderful to get that kind of feedback, because as I've said with Live 5D to anybody in Ireland or anywhere in the world, it's the medical tent on the battlefield, because we have to be physically, ready to keep going. Perseverance. We have to look after ourselves. I know I'm not the best at looking after myself. I just had a chat with my next guest. She said, "Do you ever get any downtime?" I said, "Well, no, not really." I do watch car videos occasionally, and I do take walks in nature, and I need to get my exercise up. I know that, but I'm eating well, and I've got a lot of love around me, which is amazing. I have an amazing girlfriend. I have amazing children, amazing friends and colleagues here. So those are really, really important things. But if you can help get this book at the charts, even if you're going to buy it as a gift, actually, because it's an easy book to read. It's not dense. It's pictures and poems, right? And they can disagree with them, but it's a poem, so it's a piece of art. It's not like a political treatise. And as I said in the book, if I'm wrong, because a lot of these are actually prophetic, these poems, if I'm wrong, it's very expensive toilet paper. If I'm right, it's a collector's item. So if you can support that in any way you can, that'd be grand. And if you come to Boyle, I'll buy you a coffee as a thank you. Anyway, I want to talk about, most of you know that the driving force for me with this podcast has always been, the engine behind it has always been for the children. And what does that mean? Well, I've known for a very long time. I mean, I grew up surrounded by a cult, which was started by a paedophile who abused my dad. I had a friend who committed suicide because of whatever that cult did to her. I have a cult radar, beep, 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 like nobody. And it's about the children. 22,000 children missing every single day since the Second World War, at least. That's what this war is about. Oh, most of them get found. No, they don't. They go into underground tunnels. They get consumed by satanic groups all over the world. This is what Haiti was all about, the Clinton Foundation. This is what they create the weather. They get all the kids and then I even made a TV show 30 something years ago, which regular viewers will know about, where I I played a local journalist and I blackmailed a local councillor for council-funded trips to Morocco. This is weird because I ended up moving to Morocco 20 years later. Council-funded trips to Morocco when the journalist had the negatives of his paedophilia activity over there, because that's well documented, and it's not limited to any country. But what if you were born into one of these families? What if one of your parents was a mass murdering Satanist and you survived it? Well, please welcome Rachel Vaughan. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, Mark. Good to be here, Dylan.
Yeah, we were supposed to speak about 3 or 4 years ago, and then circumstances dictated otherwise, which I always find interesting. So it's really good to meet you at last, properly.
Yeah,
even though it's not properly, it's over the internet.
Yeah.
I keep threatening to come to Australia. Maybe we should meet then. But there's 2 things about Australia I don't like. One of them is spiders.
They're nice if you're nice to them. I pick them up. I take them out of the house with my hands.
The big ones?
Not the big ones, not the big ones. I freaked someone out once because I let a big huntsman, they're big spiders, crawl across my body and they ran away. 2 grown men ran away in terror.
I'd be the same. But the thing is, right, I'm not actually terrified of them. It's just that I came into this life with memories of them. And you know the scene in Lord of the Rings where Frodo stabs Shelob. I was like, I've done that.
Okay, yeah, all right. I'm glad I wasn't around in that past life. That does not sound like fun.
No, it wasn't fun. But anyway, here we are. How are you?
I'm good. It's beautiful day here in South Australia. It was a beautiful day. It's a lovely, nice evening, nice and relaxed. Don't have to do a presentation, which is fabulous. We can just have a chat. So I'm feeling very happy.
Oh, well, good. Well, for the benefit of viewers that have not seen you before, do you want to give us your backstory?
Okay. All right. So I grew up in South Australia in a little suburb called Edwardstown, and my father was a telecommunications officer. So his day job, which he was quite obvious about and told strangers about when he met them, was that he was a line tapper for Telecom, which is the telecommunications provider here, which meant that he listened into people's phone calls. That was his day job. His other work was as an ASIO operative, which is a Secret Services operative. He was also a Navy reservist, but I think he travelled far further afield, like to China. He told me he actually travelled to China as a reservist, which I don't think is possible. I cannot get his serial number for the Navy Reserve, so I've been told that means he was an ASIO operative, and he had impunity from prosecution. So he used to use me in blackmail, child trafficking operations. The house that I grew up in on Macklin Street in Edwardstown had an old telecommunications bunker, which had been a brick kiln. and it was converted into a telecommunications bunker. He built the house with a hidden cellar, which had access to the bunker and had 1938 mandated tunnels. There was a mandate in Adelaide for a tunnel, trench or bunker within 20 feet of the back door of every house, meeting place or business. And to the point where, there were so many tunnels that they had to come up with a whole brand new formula for making concrete. So we had tunnels, and the tunnel led all the way to the local boys' home. There were many bunkers in the area. I was taken through and placed on people who were either awake or not awake, conscious or drugged, or perhaps they were drunk, and photographs would be taken or videos or whatever. And that was my father's blackmail operation. I was also used in child films, which were the worst kind. I was abused at Channel 9 Studios, which was filmed, and it was the PON variety, PORN. I'm not sure what I want to say on your channel. Don't want to get you struck. That was filmed. I later was seeing a guy who, when I told him, or I showed him some photographs of me as a child, and he said he'd seen this horrible film of me with a children's character at that time called Humphrey Bear. He said he'd seen this awful, awful child PORN film, and the child in it looked just like me because he'd just seen these photos of me as a child. So that's out there on the dark web. I was also used in rituals. My father was part of a cult. He was a Satanist. He was a devotee of Aleister Crowley. He was a Golden Dawn member and a Rosicrucian. So my maiden name is McIntyre, which means son of a Mason. My great-grandfather was a Wright, Joseph Wright, and he was Grand President of the Grand Lodge. So it's a Freemasonic line. And my great-great-great-grandmother was Catherine Kennedy. So we are from a bloodline family. So, and there's a lot of signals of that. So I have central heterochromia, which is a particular eye color, which is very rare, but the Celts have it. Romany gypsies have it. The Nazis were experimenting on the Romany gypsies during the Second World War because of their eye color, because according to many religions, including the Hindus, people with heterochromia, and there's different versions, I have central, can see otherworldly entities. And I'm studying this. I have a cousin, Doug McIntyre, who shared some of his research on this, and I've done some myself. We can see a wider range of the electromagnetic spectrum. So in my opinion, demonic entities exist within the infrared spectrum, one end of the spectrum, angelic beings in the ultraviolet. And I'm also a tetrachromat, so I see a lot more colors than most people because of my eye color. So different people have different abilities, and the Celts are well known for having central heterochromia and being, very psychic. I mean, the Celts talk about the Fae, and they still talk about the Fae. They haven't had that drummed out of them by organised religion and psychology. So because I had those abilities, I think my father chose my mother because she had central heterochromia, and he wanted to breed children to put into the MK Ultra Theta psychic program. So I was programmed from infancy, and I now work as a psychic. So I've been speaking out for 20 years, trying to get my father investigated. I was compensated in 2024 for some of the abuses he perpetrated against me. I was also used in prion experiments. I survived. And my father told me in 1983, and I put this out publicly in 2018, that he and his doctor friends were trying to bring out about a zombie apocalypse using prions. And he told me at that time I was 10. He'd just murdered a child in front of me. He told me that I was going to die a horrible death because I'd been used in these experiments. I bring that out in 2018 publicly, and then 2019, 2020, COVID spike protein mimics a prion. So, and he said he wouldn't live to see it. He died in 2017. So we're living through that now. I can tell people that, not everybody comes down with a prion disorder. Not every child. Most children can get over it. Their body will get rid of it, like me. They know that because of children like me. There are a lot of experiments in Adelaide with children. I saw other children being experimented on. I was experimented on extensively. It's a whole gamut of things. I mean, I could talk for like 3 weeks on what I went through, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Firstly, well, thank you for sharing that. I know it can't be easy. Even when you've told a story many times, it can't be easy. I know that, and I really appreciate that. There's aspects of that I want to. I don't take pleasure in digging into survivors' details, but some things come out of that are really interesting and relevant to today and where we are at in the spiritual war. And why, I think the first question is, why do you think you survived?
Well, it's hard for people to get their head around, but there were at least 10 attempts on my life, but I kept coming back into my body. It's the only way I can describe it. And when my father couldn't do it, he tried to run me over, he throttled me, strangled me, drowned me. I just kept coming back in because I knew I had a purpose. He tried to get other people to do it too. I was run over off my bike by a guy, which he then trotted me back 2-3 weeks later when I'd recovered enough to walk, and tried to get me to apologise too. So I knew I had stuff to do here. So every time I would go to the other side, communications with my spirit guides who I still work with now were that if I went back, it would be worth it. So I just kept coming back.
Thank God for that. I thought that would be the answer, but I think people watching this will be like, I think the first question most people will be saying is how, and I've spoken to people who've been through this before, but it's different for everybody. How do you live on a day-to-day basis knowing, having a father like that?
Yeah.
I mean, fathers and daughters, my relationship with my daughters is the most precious thing. Anybody who harm a hair on their head, I would murder them without question, without delay, without hesitation. And yet your father was doing that to you.
Yeah.
How do you live with that? How did you cope with that?
From an early age, I felt very superior to him. And so I wasn't going to let him have the better of me. So I drove him out of the house at 14. I drove him out of the house. He was scared of me because I'd had pretty good training. The psychic theatre training is pretty intense. You don't need a weapon. So, yeah, I was just pretty sure I was going to get through it. I mean, it was horrible. It was extremely difficult. I was anorexic for 10 years. I didn't eat for 24 hours at a time, which actually, now that I've learned about fasting, that's probably part of the reason why I got rid of the prions from my system. It also stopped me from getting pregnant constantly because I stopped my menses.
That's actually a very practical thing to share, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fasting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to dig into that. For how long?
Well, from 13 till about 15, I would go for 24 hours at a time, not eating at all, a lot. I mean, I was a waif. I was so thin. But there gets a point where your body, you stop using up the body's calories. It just slows down, just stops. Like you don't get any thinner, which is interesting. Not that I'm advocating for this for anybody, but I think that cleaned up a lot of the prions. There's a guy called Professor Dr. Matthias Jaco who says that children very rarely come down with prion disorders. So I just want to say that to the parents out there who might have given their kids a jab. It doesn't mean your kid's going to get a prion disorder.
But fasting would be a very good thing to do. And for the benefit of anybody watching that doesn't know because they're going to ask in the comment, what's a prion?
Oh, so a prion is a misfolded protein which convinces other proteins to misfold. So prion disorders are like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, which is mad cow disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. There's a whole range, Lewy body dementia, which is like a zombie-like illness. Like people get really aggressive and bite, and they shuffle around like a zombie. It's horrible. Another thing with fasting too is quite euphoric. That was my antidepressant. You get to a certain point and you produce all these endorphins.
I found
that was a way to cope.
Yeah, I did 2 7-day fasts, and I couldn't believe how good I felt.
Yeah,
and I think that was all in preparation for this time. I'm due another one. I might run a fasting retreat actually, because they are incredibly powerful, and you do need support, I think, as well. But I interrupted your story with the digging into the fasting bit. Do you remember what you were about to say?
yeah. So I mean, And I continued it for years after I got out of the home because I was so depressed. So that was my way of coping. It was one of the, you know, because again, you get to a certain point and the body sends out endorphins and you clean up, you know, whatever's in the body that needs to be cleaned out. So I really didn't understand what I was doing at the time. I do now. And it's quite amazing. I've heard you talk about how you just know to do things and you just sort of kind of get downloads and understandings. And I had that throughout my childhood. So when my father tried to sell my soul, you can't sell someone's soul, but he was trying to convince me he could sell my soul to the devil when he was marrying me when I was 5, I whispered under my breath I was giving my soul to Jesus.
He was marrying you?
Yes.
What, he was marrying you?
The little bracelet that he gave me, which must be tungsten or something because it hasn't rusted. I'm 52 and it hasn't rusted, and this was when I was 5 years old. So he said it was off a tool ship. It's a really weird metal. So that was one of the, I think it was a Rosicrucian rite. I'm not sure, but he was marrying me. This is in the backyard, by the way. It wasn't in a.
So he was marrying you. He wasn't marrying you to someone. He was marrying you.
No, he was marrying me. I also had a weird marriage ceremony where I was married off to somebody else, but that was when I was 14. This was when I was 5.
And was your mother around?
So my mother was one of those people that could be rapidly induced with hypnosis. He was an adept hypnosis. His best friend was an adept hypnosis, and his later very close mate was also. So he could just click his fingers at my mother and say a few words and she'd just be gone. Didn't matter what was going on with us in front of her. She wasn't there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And do you know how he got into it? How does this even happen?
Well, I mean, his grandfather, my great-grandfather, Joseph Wright, was Grand President of the Grand Lodge, and he didn't die until my father was 11. My grandmother, my father's mother, was head of the Eastern Star. This is what the family's told me. So that's the female version of Freemasonry, and they're very high witches. And she was a very weird woman. She never abused me that I remember, but there's no affection or anything. It was like we didn't exist. So I think he was just, like I said, from the Kennedy bloodline. So I think he was just indoctrinated into it.
Because they must have been through similar abuse, right?
Yes, I would say so. I mean, he had alters. He had multiple parts. So he was one person 1 minute, you know, and then next minute you'd see this look come over his face that my siblings and I call the evil Max look, and we just, you know, you'd know to go, get away from his as fast as you could. Very often you couldn't get away from him, but yeah, he'd just have a look that would come over.
And through this process, did you ever find that there was possession going, or attempted possessions going on with you throughout your life? Did you feel like demons?
I'm just going to say there was an altar part that could protect me, but I didn't want to call it up until I was 14. Then I used it on him. So yeah, there was something. And it's still there, but it's only there in reserve if needed.
Wow. The other thing that you mentioned that I think is extremely relevant and important for people to understand is this thing with the eyes and your abilities to see things.
Yeah.
You told me before, you asked me before the show, has anyone ever told you what your aura looks like? I think it's tell the audience what you saw. So if you want to. I mean, I don't care either way.
Well, look, there is a frequency, an auric frequency, which I've always been in awe of, but I didn't know where it fit. And I have a whole understanding of auras because I was used as a psychic spy as a child. My father would just give me a name and I would know because my guides would tell me what the aura of that person was, and then I'd be able to, you know, validate it if I could see.
So just explain that, because why would he find it useful to use you to find out what somebody's aura was like? How would he use that information? So
there's a whole classification system that I've worked out. So if someone's got a brown aura, they're a pedophile.
Oh, really?
If they've got a red aura, they are absolutely power obsessed. Orange, sex obsessed. Yellow, they're a new soul. They're no danger to anybody. Light green, same. Blue, throat chakra, academic usually, and completely mind controlled in the academic sort of scientific. That's all they believe in. third eye color, the indigo, means that they're quite psychic. Violet means that they can actually also see the future. And there's a whole series of frequencies after that. So I was watching a Hopi Indian the other day, and he was explaining this so beautifully. The rainbow children prophecy, it's not about all the different colored people in the world. It's about friggin' rainbow aura. He was saying that first there were indigo children in the 70s, then the crystalline children. And that went mental around 2023, 2024. Lots of people went up to the crystalline frequency. Now people are coming into this, what I call an usher frequency, which is a rainbow, which does make me wonder if all of this other woke rainbow stuff is there to make us, you know.
Well, it's an inversion, isn't it?
Instead, yeah, another inversion. But the usher frequency, that people from about March this year suddenly went up, a lot of people at once. That is actually a demon hunter. That's someone who can send dark entities either to hell or to source. I think it's kinder to send them to source, because then they might possibly choose altruism in a future lifetime. They have to start their incarnations all over again. But it's better than sending them to hell. Hell is predatory. And this is why we've got a problem here. We have all these attachments. I love Jerry Marzinsky. I know you quote him, and I do too. These entities have been stuck here. They can move on after death. Well, they're supposed to. They're supposed to go to hell. But earth energy lines are the avenue through which souls move on after death. The Freemasons came along and put their piezoelectric structures all over the earth energy lines, turned them into straight ley lines, and inverted the frequency. So that normal movement doesn't happen. And we're not supposed to have all these attachments. It's not normal. It's just messed up. So people at this frequency, so I'm also at the usher frequency, never expected to get here, always been in awe of it. It's our job to clean up the mess.
So you can see a rainbow around me.
Yeah. Not at the moment. I could see it. You didn't upload earlier today, and there's a little bit of grey wall behind you, and I could see it against the grey wall. So I always have a white blind behind me so that people can see my aura, because I teach this in courses. So I always make sure, so that they don't have to listen to what I'm talking about, but they can just call up any interview I've done, turn the sound down if they don't want to hear it, because it's a bit triggering, and then just watch my aura. And you can see the etheric, and then it flares out when I'm talking about something I'm excited about, and they can see the colors that way. And that's a good practice tool.
Yeah, I've been able to see auras in the past when I've tried to do it. I haven't tried to do it. I'm kind of like, not recently anyway, I'm kind of like just instinctive now. Like, I just know if somebody's a but it's taken a while. And I said on a video the other day, like, boundaries was my biggest issue. And I think I'm definitely getting there. I don't let them in anymore. And they know that, and then they kind of back off you, don't they?
Yeah, and it seems really kind to help and to rescue, but it actually doesn't help them at all.
I know. I've learned the hard way. I was recounting this story the other day. I did a horse whispering course about 20 years ago, and I was in a stable with a horse, and the woman that was running the horse in Yorkshire, which she had worked with the horse whisperer guy that the film was made out of, and I was in there, and I just kept giving hay to this horse. She was watching me, and I was thinking I was doing really well. And then she took me to one side after I'd finished. She went, "I just got something to say to you, Mark." I went, "What's that?" She went, "Sometimes when you give, you take away." I went, yes. Big lesson.
Wow.
And all these lessons we get in life actually should be coming back to people during this time, I think, because you have been shown the way your entire life. You just might not have realized it.
Absolutely.
You'd agree with that.
When I learned about the drama triangle, you're either the victim or the perpetrator or the rescuer. It's like, oh, okay, finally worked that one out. Why did somebody tell me that? It took me to 51 to learn that lesson.
Because you're supposed to work it out yourself. That's why. That's the annoying bit.
Yeah, very annoying.
But it's good that you're teaching and helping people, and what you're doing is spiritual alchemy, which I love. It's my favorite thing. Every time I meet a spiritual alchemist, and I've met quite a lot now, I'm like, you're doing, and if you're watching this and you want to come on the show and you think you're doing that, don't expect me to email you straight back, because it's taken Rachel 4 years to do this. But it's all meant to be. Now, as you were talking about the the eyes and the ability to see things. I've had a theory for quite a long time about certain spectacles that satanic pedophiles wear, right? I'm just going to share. I pulled this up while you were talking, and I want to get your thoughts on it, because I'm going to show you a couple of deeply dodgy people. Here's one. Look at the glasses he was wearing all the way through his career.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right?
What a creature.
Yeah. And then let me just remove him and put somebody else up people might recognize. And then look at this guy. Very similar.
What are you going to do?
Very similar.
Yeah.
So I
think you
got
might have talked about this the other day. Yeah.
I got a download about this a while ago, and it was that these glasses are either, I think it's for them to replicate that skill so that they can see victims easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
because
I learned, yeah, because I was surrounded by, I put it in one of my poems actually. Jimmy Savile was, I'm just going to recite it. Jimmy Savile was the tip of the berg. You're surrounded by pedophiles that steal and eat children in underground tunnels that go on for thousands of miles. And that was in a poem I wrote 5 or 6 years ago. And, you know, in my childhood, I was literally surrounded by them, and even dodging one on the way to school every day. And there was, what was I going to say there? Yeah, there was this time when I was picked for a football team, and it was quite a big deal, right? And I had to go to Norwich, which is east coast of England. I was 15, I think, on a train, and I arrived at this RAF base, really dark evening, and I had this meeting with the new football manager, and there were all us lads. There was about 15 of us that gathered, and we'd been recruited from all over the place and come to meet for this training weekend. And the manager sat there in front of us, and he was giving us a bit of a pep talk, and he had a Norwich accent, and he went, "Right, lads, I'm going to tell you something now. If you're going to come and see me, don't come and see me with a headache, because I'll make you take your shots down." And I turned to this guy and I went, "Oh, what did he just say?" Don't come and see me with a headache, because I'll make you take your shorts down. I was like, well,
Jeez.
I'm not going to go and see him. But I learned something that weekend, because there was one of the kids in the team that was going into this guy's room of his own volition in the evening.
Oh.
And even though I was 15 and fairly innocent, I kind of knew something was up there, but I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't prove it. Didn't want to knock at the door. I mean, I didn't know what was going on exactly, but you know, but that kid had a kind of look about him, a vibe. And I've had this theory for most of my 50 years now, or 40 years, that there is this frequency, which is an aura.
Yeah.
Basically, isn't it? You're emitting a frequency.
Yeah.
And I've wondered for a long time if those glasses that these guys, and a lot of them, wear are to help them spot, to make their pedophilic passage through life more smooth.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you pick the wrong one, I mean, if they picked me, I'd have kicked off. And I have met a few SRA survivors that have asked me about my bloodline, and have asked me about memories as a child. And you know, and I have contemplated, did anything like that happen to me? I don't think it did, but I did get touched up by a doctor once who was part of this cult that I grew up in my village. And I had a realization about 15 years ago that pretty much all my family in some way were sexually abused.
Jesus.
Pretty much everybody, which explains, and I think that's true for everybody. I think it's so, you were right on the deepest, darkest part of this spectrum, and you've survived to come and help people, which I think is incredible. And but it's, there's levels of it across society. You know, in this country in particular, it was hidden by the Catholic Church, where nobody would speak out against it. When I confronted my own grandmother about it with her son, my dad, I said, "Why didn't you tell anybody? Why didn't you do it?" And she was like, "Because we were scared." And she said because we were scared, in exactly the same way as my own mother said when I asked her why she'd been jabbed twice. She said because I was scared. It was exactly the same sentence.
Yeah. Wow.
So this thing about not speaking out and fear. I mean, I'm trying to book. We're about to publish a book about satanic ritual abuse in this country, written by a woman whose whole family have tried to stop her publishing and writing this for 20 years, even though they were all victims.
Wow. Okay.
You know, it's so important what you're doing, just speaking out. I just want to say how much I respect that, and how grateful we should all be that you and other people, other survivors, do speak out, because it's the biggest. I mean, David Icke wrote a book in '98 called The Biggest Secret, which was really about this, didn't he? Do you ever read that book?
No, I didn't. No, and it's incredible, really. I mean, it's a massive team of us all working together. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you can talk out bad about this stuff, but you need people to put you on your podcast. And a lot of people don't want to because they're worried about losing their channel. And I know you've lost your channel before. So, you know, kudos to you for actually hosting something like this, because, again, you've got to worry about that sort of thing. I don't think you'll lose your channel. I think we're beyond that now. I think it's a very different paradigm that we're in. I actually think that a lot of what was puppeting at the top levels is crumbling or has crumbled. And I know you've talked before about there's all these people wandering around in masks. I've been seeing that and talking to people about it, and I cannot believe people don't notice it. I mean, how can you think that was the same Biden? The head shape was completely different. And there's just so many of them. We could go on for hours. Why aren't people noticing?
Well, I think it's all consciousness driven, and I think it's all part of God's plan. Yeah. And you know, I think some of them are deliberately easy to spot, and because they're so good at this, that it's like I've been talking about the CGI in movies, right? So I first noticed it in a Star Wars film where Peter Cushing was reanimated, which is kind of sick in a way, actually, using dead actors and pretending they're still alive. But the CGI of him was deliberately bad, I think, so that people knew it was CGI.
Yeah.
Yet I went and watched Top Gun Maverick, and that's not Tom Cruise. And it's all been, it was all put out there like, oh, this is deliberately no CGI in this film. It's all done real, like old style. And I was like, no, the CGI is so good that nobody can tell when they actually use CGI. So when they did Biden, I think that was deliberately to, you know, point to. But with characters like Keir Starmer and I don't know, your guys in Australia, I think most of them have been replaced and are being puppeted by the good guys. That's my feeling.
Well, I'm just going to say the entities that we're controlling can't stand this new frequency. They haven't understood it for a long time. And, you know, we know about certain individuals who are building bunkers. It's because their entities can't stand the surface frequency. I was used in rituals as a child as a go-between. And I know that the darkest of entities that get called up in the portal spaces, which is why I teach about ley lines, they do the unaliving in a portal space because it opens a door. The entities that were called up did not want to be there. They were furious. I had to interpret. I had to be the one that was going in between because I was clairaudient. And either the adults didn't want to because it's freaking dangerous, or they just weren't capable. I know that they are much more comfortable underground. And a lot of rituals do happen underground, but the Satanists need the ambient frequencies, natural frequencies. They need earth energy lines, not ley lines, to do this work. They have to be out in nature. And this is why they you know, they risk being filmed. They have to have everybody stitched up in the area. That's why they have cults that take over whole towns or cities. Everybody has to be a Mason or a Rosicrucian or, you know, in the club to control the judiciary, the police, everything, so that allegations just can't go anywhere.
Have you ever seen the film Hot Fuzz?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very funny documentary, isn't it?
It is very funny, yeah.
But it's all true.
And I'm pretty sure
they're everywhere. I mean, it's every town in the world, basically, that has an element of this. And people, that's the thing that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Isn't
and
it?
I'm pretty sure the main actor has heterochromia. It's either full or central. And that's the thing. Most of your, really big stars have either full or central, partial or segmented heterochromia. So they're more dissociative. So getting back to wearing the glasses. So a Freemason can see whether or not a child is going to be dissociative and easy to traumatize and, like my mother, put her into a different state so she can be abused by the color of the eyes. It's that easy. So when I started speaking publicly about heterochromia, particularly central heterochromia, where there's a different ring of color around the pupil in comparison to the rest of the iris, which is what
is that what it is? Is that what it is? Because I've got a different color around my pupil. My eyes have changed. My eyes change color a lot, actually.
Okay. Well, then you've got it.
I don't know if that means anything. Well, I've seen dragons and ships and all sorts.
Exactly. So, well, you see all sorts of things, and so you see a wider range of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's scientifically known that that's what you can see. So, and you would probably be also, like I said, a tetrachromat. You can see the same range of colors as a bee. That's about 25% of the population get to see that much. But central heterochromia is 1% of 1% of the population. Now, that's not to say that people who don't have it aren't psychic, because there's plenty of psychics that have got brown eyes or whatever, or coloured eyes, blue eyes, whatever. It's just that we have a specific ability to see entities, and it's just known that we can do that.
Oh, it's so interesting. Two of my favourite poems that I've ever written are called "We See You" and "I See You." It's all about seeing. That's so funny.
Oh, I just got shivers then too. And you're only men comprise 30% of that 1% of the world's population. So you're rarer.
Well, good. I don't think.
Also, just so you know, Mark, that's a bloodline family trait. The same.
Well, this is the thing. I met some people who had some serious stuff like you happen in their lives, and they said you need to go and look at your bloodline. I was like, I'm a council house kid. How can I be bloodline? I don't understand. How is that possible? But I think I know the answer.
Okay.
Do you know the answer?
And so you've got Celtic background, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's enough. I've noticed that, there's the red hair in your family line. So that's ding, ding, ding.
Oh, there is. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a ginger princess.
Yes.
Who's a very powerful character. They all are, actually. Where was I going with that? Yeah, when I said that a lot of the characters on the world stage at the moment are being puppeted by the good guys, and do you agree with that, or do you think we're still in a position where, because this is as old as the hills, right? Having body doubles as a world leader. I mean, just go look at was it the Man in the Iron Mask from the 1700s? I mean, this is not a new idea, right? Having body doubles, but back then you'd have to find someone that looked like you and then put a bit of makeup on. Now it's clones, CGI, masks, all of that kind of stuff. What's your feeling? You've said did you say that since April this rainbow energy has come in?
It's so I read for people, and a lot of the people that I read for are already high level souls, are already worked through major trauma, and that, it forges a diamond, basically, trauma. So I've been noticing more and more of my clients getting to this frequency, particularly since March, but I felt a shift in March as well. Big shift. Yeah. Very, very different energy. Yeah. So I've never felt less fear in my entire life.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
and
a big shift.
Well, this is an important message for people watching, right? There's less to be fearful of. And you've got people like Alabar Jones saying that all demons have been defeated, right? I'm supposed to interview him a few weeks ago, but we missed each other. He's down in Australia. Do you follow his work?
I've heard his name, and there's so many amazing people producing content. It's hard to keep up.
I know you can't keep up with everybody.
When you interviewed Cliff High, he was talking about 2027 being amazing. I know 2027 is going to be amazing. I've seen that that's going to be, we are seeing the absolute breakdown of the satanic system right now.
Well, this is beautiful to hear from you.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about being qualified to say this.
Yes.
So let's share that good news. Dig into that a bit. We are going to get onto ley lines, and I think you've got to come back for part 2, and we will go through your whole presentation. But this is such a good chat. I hope you're enjoying it.
I shut down my clairaudience. I still get messages, but it's all internal mind's eye stuff. I shut down my clairaudience when I was about 8 years old. But because I was used so much in rituals and I heard these demonic entities, and the sound of these things is like, it's like fingernails down a chalkboard, but it's 100 times amplified. It hurts the body. It racks your body with fear and pain, and it's very, very cold. When they're conjured up, they use all the ambient temperature to produce the manifestation.
Suck it all in.
Suck it all in.
That's why it goes freezing cold.
Even though I've shut that down, if I can still tune in, and they are not happy. All I get is this, and it's faint now, but it used to be, if I would tune in, it would be this screeching. They were all screeching because they've got their own channel.
Yeah.
Now when I tune in, it's very dull. So they're dying. I can feel it and I can hear it.
Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, there's a different frequency here. They can't stand it. They don't like this energy. So all they can do is jump on people. But even those, I mean, we're going to find that those people who had schizophrenia will be fine soon enough. Well, they have to get off all the horrible medications that they've been put on.
Off that. You know.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Stop letting them in. Yeah.
Precisely. Yeah.
They just that stuff just opens doors, and it's like, I mean, I've joked about this for years that I was like, I'm like this. Come on then. Come on. I've been like that. One of my daughters is a bit like that. She's just like, come on, let's have a fight. Because I think we must enjoy fighting them. But it's not very easy. It's not a recommended thing for most people.
No. But if you have great confidence, this is what I teach. If your intent is that you are protected and you use visualization, self-affirmations, or prayers, if you're comfortable with prayers, if you're confident, they don't want to come near you.
No, it's all about
the reason that it's like Monsters Inc. The reason that they have, it's all bluster. They jump around and try and scare you because when you go, your aura breaks down and they can get in.
It's a door.
That's all you need to know is they're trying to be scary, and that makes them funny and pathetic.
I've been saying that for years. It's nice to hear you say it.
Yeah,
it is nice to hear you say it. I had a really good question. It's buggered off. Come on, come back to me. Come on. I'll have to let you keep talking.
Oh God. Ley lines. Ley lines,
right. So, yeah, okay, you start talking. I've got a few questions, but the ley lines, because did you see the film I did with Gillian England based at Arbor Low a few years ago?
No, I'd love to know.
Well, I'm just going to pull it up because I would love you to watch it. And it's a really amazing experience. If you type in, I'll see if I can pull this up. Should be a case of pulling this up like this. The most powerful stone circle in the world is the title I gave it. Yeah, it's there. I'll just pull it up. So this is a place called Arbor Low in Derbyshire in England. This is the video, and you can see there that what happened is I went into this stone circle with Gillian.
I was watching that yesterday.
Oh, you have seen it?
I just didn't notice the title.
Yeah, so this Arbor Low is the stone circle in Derbyshire that it's the intersection of 9 ley lines.
Yeah, and I noticed you had a rock. There was a stone there with HR on it. Like, they're just trying to own it.
Well, that was the thing. I got into the stone circle with Gillian. She'd been going there for years. And while I was in there, I got a message, go outside. And I went outside and I found this concrete block with VR, which is Victoria Regina. And then Gillian said, there's going to be one on every ley line. And she'd been there for decades and never seen these stones, right? Wow. So it was a real good teamwork thing. And then she was clearing them. I was helping her clear them. And then when we got to we found a 10th one with GR, which was George Rex, and cleared that one. That was really dark. Cleared that one, and then immediately the sun came out of nowhere, and the sun changed in front of my eyes. And I tried to get the camera, Kieran, to pick it up on the camera. And then there were 2 women walking a dog. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us, I think. And then they could all see it. And the sun literally changed. And then it had a black outline and a white light going around it like this. And then it started pumping out all these beautiful colors. I think I originally released the film as the 5D sun or something, but I thought actually it's more about the stone circle, because what was interesting about it for me was that the stone circle was very low key.
Okay.
You had to go through a farmer's field, the car, enough room for 3 cars or something. Yeah, 9 ley lines. What? And then and then the blockages. And so I was learning all this stuff on the job, as it were. And then a thing that I've recently realized is like the big houses, the British houses in Ireland, they're all on powerful spots. The houses themselves. And there's a huge house here that burnt down in the 50s, then got demolished in the 70s, and they put a giant concrete tower on the spot. And I know that that's an energy blockage or a harvester. I'm not sure. So I'll shut up now and let you tell us more.
So that stone circle I hadn't seen before. So the moat marks the edge of the portal. And the portal is, a portal is where the crossing point of ley lines are. It's like a big sphere, and you can see the portals too with the naked eye. So that's what I teach, is how to see the ley lines. And the ley lines actually run between the stones. The stones aren't in the ley, they're next to. So they go, and I would say those concrete blocks, and I didn't watch the whole thing, sorry, I was so busy, but I watched a bit, probably about half of it. I would say that was actually Victoria and George, or whatever his name was, would have been able to tap into the energy, because they're vampires. That would have been that's their battery or access.
Yeah.
But we can do that too. We can go out to these places and leave a little bit of hair. If you're very strong, if you're a psychopomper and very powerful, you can leave some of your hair, leave your DNA in a space like that.
I'm gonna do that. I've got hair still. I'm gonna do that.
Because your DNA is a portal. You can access that hair and be in that space, meditation, or just by thought, really, just consciously thinking you're there. Or you could take a crystal, hold it on your body for a while and put it in. It's the same thing. It's still got some of your DNA on it.
Your hair your hair can become a portal?
Yes. The American Indians used to burn their hair or keep it in a medicine bag. Used to burn it because they had a lot of hair. So that is a portal. This is why they leave mummies, so they can come back in. They don't want to go to hell. They want to come back in.
I like that. So in a way, because it's a portal, it's hair today, gone tomorrow.
Well done for getting it in there. I kept speaking over you.
I'm trying to get a joke in. A really shit joke.
We needed a joke. Well done.
Yeah, of course we do. So go on.
So but don't leave your hair, for those watching, don't leave your hair if you're someone who's really nervous or anxious or worries about things like that, because these portals are interdimensional. Every dimension comes off one of these portal ley lines. This is where aliens come in. This is where you see your interdimensional entities. I was watching you with Jordan Crowder.
Jordan, yeah, he was on at the weekend on my show.
So when you see a cryptid, which is another worldly entity, like a wolfman or a Bigfoot or whatever, usually you're either in a portal because you can see them because they're in that dimension, or they're in the portal and you're seeing them in the portal. So they exist within that interdimensional space.
Which is super interesting, because my one of my kids drew a picture once of himself sat down at a little table with a mantoid behind him. And he was pouring tea, and there was a plate with a sandwich or a cake on it. And I said, "What's this?" He said, "Oh, I went up on a spaceship and they made me tea." And I was like, definitely my kid.
How old was he when that happened?
5. And he came in saying, "That's not my name. I'm called this. That's not my name." But when he was, 18 months, 2 years old. I mean, totally amazing stuff. Yeah.
So when you come in and you keep your soul name, you get so many accolades on the other side when you pass over.
Oh, do you?
Big deal. Oh, yeah.
What do you mean, keep your soul name?
So he was probably telling you what his soul name was. So your soul name is a name that you can carry through each lifetime, just like we usually keep the same face for every lifetime.
Oh no! Don't tell me that. I want a better face.
Oh, nothing wrong with your face, Mark, for heaven's sake. And the faces that we have are the ones that people trust. Usually, if you go with the same face most lifetimes, it's one that you've just worked out that people like or trust. Not because it's the prettiest, not because it's the most symmetrical, because it's the one that people trust.
Well, it's weird that. Do you find that? Do you get a lot of people say to you, "Oh, I feel like I've known you forever"?
Yes.
I bet you do. I get that a lot. I get loads of comments from people saying, "I feel like you're my brother. I've known you," or whatever, and it's like, okay. sometimes
you do
there's
have an ability with that because you're very forthcoming, you know. And
sometimes
when
sometimes
you're
there's
talking on a screen, it's like you're in the lounge room and you
no, I
feel,
know,
you know,
I know it's a
action.
big responsibility as well. But
It is.
sometimes they're stalkers and sometimes they're genuine, and it's like, yeah, it's an interesting shuffle that we've had to go through since COVID as well. So ley lines, right? Get back to that. How you mentioned the difference between ley lines and earth lines and straight lines. Now, I'm just going to throw this in. So I know ley lines are like the veins of the earth. Yeah. And I know that one thing that I've talked about in this country, and I think it's the same everywhere else, I mean, especially this country, because this is the heart chakra. And there's a guy called John Waters here who's a great journalist who wrote a book called Bring Back the Rubbish Roads or something along those lines, because Ireland was very much, all the roads were built upon the lines that the cattle followed, right? So they'd undulate and they'd be like this. And then they come in and they go, oh, straight line here, which is an energy harvesting trick, isn't it?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
And when they build a new bypass or a new motorway, they're harvesting your energy on a route that they want. So always take the back roads if you can. This is why SatNav's been so interesting, because it forces everybody to go down these lines, because that's part of the agenda, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And yet there's another line that I just want to bring up and then I'll shut up. Dragon lines. Now, dragon lines, are they the same as ley lines? Because I know that the dragons use these energy lines to navigate, right? Across the realm, whatever you want to call it.
As do insects, birds,
Yeah.
animals, cows, whales, cetaceans.
And you brought up the bees 10 minutes ago, which was just I'm obsessed with the bees at the moment. They've come into the consciousness for a reason.
So bees will often gravitate towards a negative ley line or a negatively affecting ley line. And when you visibly see them, they are smaller, usually about a foot across. And you see them because trees and plants don't like to grow within ley lines. They avoid them, which means you get a natural earth energy line will run through nature and it meanders and is serpentine. And that is because the plants and trees don't like to grow within it, whether it's because, and all trees and plants are conscious, by the way. I'm sure you're aware of that.
No, I told somebody yesterday, in fact, I mentioned it at the start of the show. I said to Dara, go out and hug it. He sent me a message this morning, said he did it last night. Go out and find an old tree. Yeah. Not a new one, an old one, because they've got all the information and they will talk to you. Firstly, they'll give you loads of negative ions. They will, and and give you loads of energy. Secondly, if you're really quiet, they will talk to you and they will tell you stuff. And he sent me a message this morning saying exactly that. But you've got to find an old one, because that's why they keep chopping the trees down, right? Because the trees stop negative frequencies and do all sorts of great stuff.
It drives me crazy. So these earth energy lines they do meander along, and it's the path of least resistance. So when humans going through there, of course you go through the path, but then Freemasons come along and they like to orient their churches into a ley line. They use a sighting rod to do that. So again, these are visual terms, so they're sighting with a sighting rod. They like to straighten out the ley lines. They want them to be a completely straight line, not a meandering natural line. Because they're control freaks. And then they turn the frequency, which should be clockwise, into an anti-clockwise frequency, which means it's not good for plants. It's not good for the earth. And then they stick their friggin' piezoelectric buildings on them to control it and keep that line straight. And then they put cemeteries in there, and then they trap the souls in the friggin' cemeteries. It just keeps going.
Well, what came to mind immediately was the most obviously Masonic city on the planet, which is Milton Keynes in the UK. And if you've never heard of Milton Keynes and you're watching this, look up S. Williams, Milton Keynes Masonic city. He's done a great video about it. I grew up near Milton Keynes as it was being built, and it's all straight lines. And there was a pyramid built right in the middle. I used to go there as a cinema. It's derelict now, called The Point. And you notice this in a lot of cities, American cities, all with that straight line grid thing. I don't know what it's like in Australia. Is it all straight lines, boulevards?
Adelaide is literally a pyramid. The capstone is the CBD, the City Business District. And Victoria Square is in the center of the capstone, and that is shaped like a reptilian eye. And they supposedly did that to to represent the rainbow serpent, an Indigenous belief system. But it's the eye at the capstone in the pyramid. It's unmistakably obvious. So that's Adelaide for you.
Have you seen the children's hospital they're building in Dublin? It's from above. They spent
That's
billions.
horrifying.
It's a big serpent. It's the eye. The eye.
Well,
the
you've got
all-seeing
your
eye.
war memorial that's shaped like a snake as well, a snake's head.
Where?
The Irish War Memorial.
Oh, I've not seen that.
It's not far away from the children's hospital. It's right there. And you should see the dragon that you can see in the landscape. If I could send that to you, it would freak you out.
Have you been to Ireland?
No, I've done all of this through Google Earth.
Do you want to come and teach ley line stuff here?
Love to. Let's do it.
Right. We're going to set that up. Watch this space. I have some very exciting news coming soon, and I want Rachel to be part of it. I just got told to do that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you love your dragons. I could freak you out with some of the dragon stuff I've found. It's really freaky.
We're going to have to do a part 2 because I'm out of time.
Yes.
I don't mind doing that because that just went like that chat, and I've got to go because I've got a ton of things to do. But I knew we'd have a good chat, and it's all divine timing as well.
Perfect timing.
Let's do a part 2 soon with that presentation. If we have to do it on Zoom, we'll do it that way. Because I think this chat's been a really good primer for that, and hopefully it's been a good interaction for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great fun.
Good. Well, I'm very pleased about that. We started heavy, we ended light, and that's the way it should be, really, isn't it?
Thanks, Mark. From
dark to light. Okay, lovely to see you. Thank you for putting up with the delays, and let's do one within the next week, maybe. Are you around next week? Okay, we'll set it up. All right, thanks. Thank you so much, and thanks everybody for watching. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Rachel Vaughan, thank you very much.
Thank you.